how did you get into sports photography?
Any normal person would still take the progressive jump, like, oh, they shot the high school sports and they went to college and then they reached to the pros. No, I went from that straight to, pro MLS soccer at that point. So I skipped a whole bunch of steps.
What would you say to the upcoming photographer that is trying to get into sports photography but doesn't know where to start? What advice would you give them?
I think I'll give them the exact same advice anybody else does.
So I'm asked all the time how I'm able to achieve a great image, great sound, and great colors. So I wanted to provide you guys with a document that would allow you to produce the same quality within your own productions. So if you check out in the description below, there's a link to my complete gear list where you'll be able to find the same equipment that I'm using to achieve the look and the sound and produce that within your own production. Check out the link in the description below and download my gear list today. So on today's episode, you're gonna learn all about the journey of a photographer that went from small beginnings to shooting for a pro soccer team in the Bank of America Stadium here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and how he accomplished that through networking. Jorge, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you for having me.
So Jorge, let's start this off by just starting with your past, man. How did you get into photography, period?
Oh, man. So started out a little bit after high school.
Okay.
And I think I always wanted to do something in the sports fitness route. So, but like I wasn't grades. The way high school ended for me, it just wasn't good enough to get into like a 4-year or something like that. So I started community college route, and I just quickly realized that this just wasn't for me. So then, I always had the creative bug. Like I was always in the arts. I'm a music guy, and the creative side was always with me. So I honestly give credit to, I don't think I ever told him, but I give credit to my roommate now, Anthony. He was like, dude, you've probably even heard of him. This guy named Casey Neistat. You should hit him up and just check it out. Because I was starting while I was at community college, I was doing like little mini vlogs with like my phone and stuff like that.
Okay, so in college, it just started out with vlogs on your phone.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I started uploading it to YouTube and all that because I watched Casey.
Gotcha.
And like this is and like I would do the whole press record and then get out and then just ramp it like the speed ramps, time lapse areas there. So I legit copied him almost verbatim. So he's like, you should watch him and stuff like that. And then it was, then him and Peter had like a whole collab in Amsterdam. And after that, I was hooked. And then I was like, this is so cool. Bought my first camera during Christmas time, or like a little bit before that.
What kind of camera did you buy?
It was a little Rebel. It was a Canon SL2.
Okay.
But it only shot like 1080 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that was my very first camera.
But when you bought that camera, even though it only shot 1080, I bet like it was the passion behind it.
Yeah. Like that. Like, oh, we're doing something now. Like this.
Yeah.
It was.
So when you bought that camera, what was the first route that you went down filming? Was it photography or was it video?
I went down the photo route first.
Okay.
Because by that point I was already cutting up like little videos and stuff like that. So, but like I knew I had to learn manual at one point. So I went the photo route after that.
Okay.
So then that's when I started doing little portrait shoots, grad shoots. Eventually my friends asked me to shoot their very first wedding.
Okay.
Terrible. I wouldn't, I look back at it, I'm like, this is not how my work is now.
Yeah.
And shout out, because y'all, they really gave me my first try. But
was it a friend of the family? Or?
Yeah, it was a friend of mine that we worked together, and they were gonna get married, and he was like, hey bro, can you shoot my wedding for me? I was like, yeah, sure. I was like, dang it, my first one. But
yeah.
it was dope. So I did a legit everything at that point.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. So you started off with vlogs. Then you got into photography, doing headshots, grad shots.
Yeah, grad, portrait, anything.
Then you got into weddings. So you were pretty just touching base on a lot of different niches. Yeah. At what point in your career, or at what point did you realize, hey, this is what I want to do full time? Was there like was it when you first got the camera, or was it like a certain project that it was like, yo, this is what I know I want to do?
I don't think it was that one thing. I think it was just as time went by, but I think it was I think I got like my stamp of approval because things felt very stagnant at one point, and then my mom gave me the idea. It was like, you know what, you should at least still go to school for this, because you don't know much, you could learn more there, you could collab. And I was like, you know what, she's got a fair point. I tried to apply to a school, and just things didn't work. And so it was like we had like an open house, but like the teachers, they were like, oh, you already know some of the things we already teaching. Like they teach their kids how to use Premiere. I was already using Premiere at the time, and how to edit photos and stuff like that. So they telling me that you already know the things that we already teach there, for me was like, all right, I can just work, find me a job and whatever, and just start doing this on the side, and then let's see where this goes to.
No, that's cool. That's cool. So when it comes to video, you use Premiere. You still use Premiere?
I still use.
That's cool. How about for photo editing?
Lightroom.
Lightroom. I got you. Do you mix Lightroom and Photoshop a little bit?
A little bit, and it eats it eats up my Photoshop eats up my storage a little bit. But
yeah, Photoshop is...
but shout out to all the Lightroom updates now and all the AI stuff.
Yeah, Lightroom
really,
is fine.
it's my bread and butter at this point. I can do it. I can almost do it like my eyes closed. I don't even have to look at anything now.
That's cool, bro. That's cool. So, you got into weddings. You went to school. What was the school?
It was here in Charlotte. It's called the Art Institute of Charlotte.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like all the way down, like at the end of like 77. So I that's what I'm saying. Like I applied. It was like a couple weeks before classes started, and I called. Like I didn't get no schedule or anything yet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I call them up. I'm like, what happened? It's like, due to like low enrollment, we're not gonna have classes and all that. So I was like, all right, let's. It was like after getting the whole you already know the things we already teach, and then that didn't work out. I'm like, you know what? Let's do this. Let's try to make it. Let's try to do something with this either way, by myself.
No, I got you. So when you made that decision to try to make something out of it without the schooling, what was the next step? What was the next thing?
I don't know. For me, I think really it was just working and saving up and learning as much as I could at that point. I wasn't doing I was picking up gigs every now and then, but it wasn't like, oh, he's bringing in X amount every week. He doesn't need to get like a whatever. No, I was still doing the whole 9 to 5 or whatever job that I had at the time. Yeah. While still picking up a freelance gig every now and then. So yeah.
What kind of job were you working 9 to 5?
Who was it? Like I was at Publix for a little bit. I was working for a nonprofit Christian-based foundation and stuff like that. Just some warehouse place and all that. So a lot of just different things because life happens or whatever. So,
yeah. So my question is, having those other jobs when you were doing photography but still had a 9 to 5. How did that feel? Were you in your mind? Were you like, man, I need to get into photography full time?
I mean, I still say that to this day.
Yeah.
Like I still do, and I'm grateful that I have had jobs that like your 9 to 5 is actually doing photo video stuff, which I'm very grateful for. But it's kind of like I've always wanted that itch to be like, no, this is my thing. I'm working for somebody else.
Totally understand, bro.
So I mean, like it's had its ups and its downs, and I'm just like, each thing has brought its good things, but I've been able. The good thing is that I've been able to pick and point things from other places that I've had, and just be like, that's not what to do, or I like that, or I see how he did it, and it kind of worked out, or like I would go about it a different way, yada yada yada. So I mean, like, the itch is still always there, but is it something that I'm like, it's like I still want it, but now it's kind of like, what's the next step even for myself to this day?
Got you. And I think as creatives, like, we're always going to be in that space. You know what I mean? Even when you get to what is your perceived goal now, at that point you're gonna be like, what's next?
What's the next thing?
There's always something new. But I got another question here for you, man. So in the past you've worked with like a diverse range of clients, right? What would you say is your process for collaborating with them to make sure that you are able to achieve what they want from you?
Communication.
Communication.
It's really what it is. I think if because I've had a lot of moments where maybe things just weren't cleared out or whatever, or the vision of what the client wanted or the way that you see it just wasn't, y'all weren't on the same page. It's just being able to talk it out, make sure y'all good, that the actual deliverables that you're asking for or what they want are things that you can produce, or that you guys are on the same page. Because last thing you want is just things to go down south. And
Yeah, nah, I've been there too. I one of the things that I like to do is sometimes ask the client, like, hey, do you have any examples of what it is that you like? You know what I mean?
So like even now, like weddings now, like if I get booked one, especially for like my photo work at that point just speaks for itself. But like if they hire me for video, be like, hey, fine. If you like the things I've done in the past, cool. But if there's like an example of like, oh, I saw this version, can you recreate this? I'll look at it and be like, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
So it's like so I know exactly. It's like I had this one wedding that I did, and like we went through some examples, like, oh, can you make this a little bit? And I'm like, so then during the day of the wedding, I went back and I looked at him like, oh, so they did this and this. So I was able to make my way to make it kind of exactly how she wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. You know what I find in entrepreneurship, and I bet you would agree, is that when you are having jobs where you're working for yourself, in a sense you're not, right? Because you're still delivering what the client wants. In a sense, you're working for the client, right? You're delivering what they want. It's not all the time that a client says, hey, I give you full reign on the creation,
which is great.
Which is great. That's like the dream come true for guys like us. Yeah. What are some of the most challenging aspects of your work, and what has been the most rewarding experience so far?
Challenges, I think lately for me has been like just picking up people who I can rely on a consistent monthly basis.
Yeah.
And, I think now leaving a small town to like a bigger city, yes, there's a lot of work, but is there a lot more competition as well? Yeah, there is. So I think it's one of those moments where I think we were just talking about this off camera. It's kind of like, do I niche down? Do I just stick to one thing, or, just do what I've been doing? And it's kind of like, I don't know yet. We'll have to figure it out. I think that's definitely my goal for this year.
Yeah.
Can I get 2, 3, 4 might be pushing it, but 2, 3 good people that I can count on consistently every single month. So I can do their content, their work, whatever they want.
Yeah.
And I'm good.
So, you brought up a great point about niching down, right? Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on niching down?
It's weird. So, like, I guess now people see me now as the sports guy.
Yeah.
And people always ask me, it's like, hey, can I get your Instagram and stuff like that? And I have to give them a fair warning. I'm like, look, you're gonna see 90% sports, like soccer photos and all these kind of things. Now, my website has a lot more of my other work as well.
Yeah.
But like, I think one is also my passion. I figured out this is kind of like what I want to do now.
Yeah.
but I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like once you become so good at something, it's kind of like you're just that, you know. It's kind of like where you challenging yourself next after that, and like where getting out of what makes you comfortable or stuff like that. So that's why doing things that I probably may not be that great at or don't have as much of experience or I didn't take off a whole soccer season under my belt and be like I'm decent at this now.
Yeah.
It's fun. Like I love product photos, like macro and cool lights and stuff like that. That's so fun to me.
Yeah.
But also, I don't mind being on the sidelines of Bank of America Stadium shooting Charlotte FC. So like it's I don't know. The whole aspect of it is pretty cool.
No, that's dope. I think when I think of you and I see your work, like what comes to mind is sports.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, I can't
And
help
I'm sure
it.
a lot
I
of
can't
people
help
think
it.
that
It's
too.
me. Like it's what I like. If you my goal now is to be like the whole, like if I could lock in 2 or 3 gyms or a team or whatnot, I think I would be happy.
Yeah.
But if I can actually it still allowed me the freedom to still do whatever I want at the same time. So
That is cool.
people see my work and say yes, that's what it is, but he can do other things as well.
No, I got you. I think when it comes to niching down specifically, I think it's a good thing. Reason why I think it's a good thing is because you kind of separate yourself as a specialist in this area. So like if someone is looking for a sports photographer rather than just a photographer, then you are more likely to be chosen for that job than just someone that does photography. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes a misconception of niching down is that once I choose this niche, I'm stuck with this forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I agree. It is a misconception.
It is a misconception because what's going to happen, I think, if you decided to niche down and say, hey, I'm going to be a sports photographer and focus on that going forward, people are going to see your work and they're going to ask you, hey, Jorge, do you do headshots? Because they're going to see your work. And then if you want to, yeah, you could take that job, So I think.
But exactly, but at the same time, you're not locked down in a jail cell and be like, this is who you are. You're not.
Yeah.
You don't have your mugshot and be like, this is who you are. Exactly. But like, because you still have the freedom to be like, yeah, my camera works in other things other than a sideline.
Yeah.
So, which is the good part. You're
It
not
is.
pigeonholed.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's kind of like, yeah, this is the guy.
Yeah, for sure. But when you are known as the guy, like that's when you get those rates that you really want. You know
Oh,
what
for
I mean?
sure.
That's when those rates come in. So sometimes I feel like niching down can get you those higher paying clients because they see you as a specialist in that field. And if you want to pick up like some jobs here and there on the side that aren't within that niche, you still can, right? And that doesn't mean you have to post it all the time, but you can still provide that service to someone else and they'll be willing to pay
100%.
you. But how did you get into sports photography?
So initially I worked for like the nonprofit Powercross, right? So the faith-based nonprofit organization that helps kids get closer to God, but they use sports as a way to bring them in. They're more like inner city, stuff like that.
How did you get into helping that nonprofit?
Because I knew them. So like one of their friends were we went to school together. They saw me play basketball and stuff like that. So I grew up with one of their sons, like the founders. So I ended up working for them and stuff like that. So obviously because I did photo video, that's how I got the job, and I started shooting their 8 to 12 U football teams, and baseball and basketball as well. So then that's how I got started with it.
Okay.
Any normal person would still take the progressive jump, like, oh, they shot the high school sports and they went to college and then they reached to the pros. No, I went from that straight to, pro MLS soccer at that point. So I skipped a whole bunch of steps, non-traditional, but, whatever, don't fight me. So what it was is that year one of Charlotte, I was just a normal, ordinary fan. But you still have that FOMO. You look at the sidelines. Oh, what are they shooting with? Oh, look at that. And then what are they shooting with? While the game is going on, because obviously, we're just curious like that. Year 2, so I realized most of the people, we call them supporters, they have their chant sessions and stuff like that. So I saw one online and like, the songs and stuff like that, and it sounded really weird. So I hit up the guy who made the video, and I was like, hey, I can come in, make it sound better for y'all. Y'all can post it, we can do whatever. And I went to one of their practices up in Camp North End and did some photos and some videos for them. They loved me, one of the supporter groups, Blue Furia. And from that point, it's because they're connected to the team, they have access, they have credentials. They put me in for last year, the beginning of the year, and then that's how I rode the ship. So then I learned a lot on the fly. I learned a lot by myself and stuff like that. So then that's how I got into now, all the soccer photos that you see now on my Instagram, because of the access they gave me. And people always tell me now, it's like, how did you do it? Technically, I just networked on my own. Like I just made it happen. But like at that point, it's like I did it by myself, but they gave me the access, but then it was all on me to make it happen for myself after that.
Hey, are you a beginner videographer looking to turn your passion into a thriving business? I want you to join me for an exclusive collaboration call designed specifically for newcomers like you who are ready to make a mark in the world of videography. Whether you're struggling with technical skills, marketing your services, or simply looking for direction, this call is your first step towards a successful career. Click the link in the description below to reserve your spot on our next collaboration call and start your journey to success today. I'm looking forward to talking to you soon. Bless yourself. Are you considering diving into any other sports outside of soccer?
No. So like basketball is my main sport.
Gotcha.
So like it took me a while to get to it, become a Charlotte fan, because they start like prime NBA playoffs, March Madness time.
Yeah.
So it took me a minute because I was like we're prioritizing this. Yeah. But I will love to like the Olympics just came out last year. I was dying all the shots that came out.
Yeah.
I think soccer now is my main one.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do football because I'm not trying to get trampled. It would be so much fun.
It would.
I'm not gonna lie.
Getting crushed on the sidelines.
I tell my friends all the time, like, this would be a lot of fun, but I got like $1,000 of gear in my hand. Last thing I want is that. I would do basketball probably. Like, I think it's more my home. I don't know. I think and then I don't know. I'll be open to doing anything.
Yeah.
But I think if I can stick to a good 3, I'd be happy with.
So when it comes to doing your soccer photography,
yeah,
is soccer at all intertwined? Are the same people that organize like the soccer events intertwined with like basketball and football? Or are these just all separate organizations?
Well, it's still, the soccer ones is David Tepper still owns it. So,
okay.
He owns the Panthers as well. So there's a little bit of intertwining, but it's still, they try to separate as much as they can.
So with your experience with soccer, it wouldn't be too hard networking to get into.
Well, shout out to my job now. Like they actually, I think my goal for next year is be able to shoot, get credentialed to shoot Panther games as well.
Awesome.
So they can have some access there, but I would love to also, shoot some Hornets games or at least step down, get, for Charlotte 49ers, football or soccer or anything like that. So I'll see, I'd venture myself out.
I got you. No, that's cool, bro. So gear, in our realm of everything, like gear, some people don't really like to go tech. I love to go tech.
Oh, I love it. I could talk about this all day.
And a lot of us could really go into that. So what equipment do you rely on the most? And are there any particular techniques you feel every aspiring photographer or videographer should master?
Okay,
so let's start with equipment. What equipment?
So
do you
I shoot
rely on
Canon.
most?
I shoot Canon.
Okay. What kind of Canon camera you use?
I use an R6. I want to upgrade. I eventually want to upgrade because I think I've outgrown it at this. Not like anybody. It could be. It's good for anybody at this point. But like I personally have outgrown it at this point, and like my needs require a bit much, or more.
Yeah.
and anything like lenses and stuff, I just have to rent because once I can get myself going, then I'll be able to upgrade and stuff like that after that. But so I shoot Canon, and then I guess if we're talking specific things, and it just depends on what lenses and stuff like that.
Yeah, like a lens. What would you say is your go-to if you only could grab one lens to go shoot a soccer game? What would you
One
grab?
lens to
One.
shoot. So last year I rented out a lot. Like I regrettably rented it out a lot and got into debt. But my bread and butter was a 300 2.8.
Okay.
So like I would love it's great.
Yeah. So with a 302.8, what is your typical shutter speed ISO in the
So if we're
stadium?
talking night game, I kept my settings almost the exact same. I'm at f2.8, 1600, and then 1600 ISO, something like that around there, or like
Gotcha.
1/1250th, and then I kept my ISO the exact same. It was perfect. The good thing for stadium lighting is it's so gorgeous. So like I don't have to fight it. The white balance is actually great. So
Gotcha.
it actually works out perfectly. So like my settings was, but I ventured out like even the 7200. Like I would love a 400. So like
didn't even know
people
they
who
made
know this know that this is not cheap stuff.
Yeah, I didn't even know that they made a 400.
Yeah. Like it even goes like there's one like a 600 and stuff like that. So no, but like for like a little bit of everything, 24-70 works.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it always depends on the job. But if I could just pick one lens I can't. You can't shoot a soccer. It all depends on the job. You can't shoot a soccer game with a 15 to 35, unless you're going for like stadium shot or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
But like if you can't get the action with that. But it all depends on the job. But like if you want like a little bit of everything, 24-70 works great.
Okay, so
My bread and butter for portraits is an 85.
85 is
Gorgeous.
portraits gorgeous, bro. 85 what, like 1.4?
Yeah, up 1.4. I've tried the RF 85 1.2.
Ooh. Yeah, I haven't seen it, but just the sound of 1.2 sounds good.
So
You know what I mean?
nice.
So if you could have like your ultimate setup today,
Easy.
what would you go for?
I will go 2-camera setup.
Okay.
It will depend on the moment of a game, obviously. So we're talking game day, right?
Okay.
So we'll go R1, R5. We'll go 100 to 300, 24 to 70. That should cover almost everything.
That's dope. What type of lens? Canon
Yeah.
as well? Yeah. Oh, that's cool, man. That's cool. Can you talk about 1 to 2 projects that you're the most proud of that you've done in your career? Or even a shot that you've taken that's like, yo, this is probably my favorite shot that I've taken.
Okay, so I would say, one project was 1 or 2 projects. Obviously, I think I wouldn't call it project, but I think not this past season, but the first season, I got to shoot the entire photography of a game of Charlotte. It was something that I was proud of because I did. People who saw me, like I went through that all on my own. I figured the whole out, and then even now, like being able to give others that experience now that I had by myself last year is probably the most gratifying experience now. But so I had a shot. People, the ones who know me know about this. So there's this guy who used to play for us. His name is Justin Merrim.
Okay.
He played for Atlanta.
Okay.
And it was not this past year, but year 2, the team traveled to Atlanta, and I went to that game as well. I got a pass and to shoot that game. So he was a former player, and it was the second half, and then he got the ball crossed to him, and I'll send you the clip. I'll show it to you after.
Yeah.
And he crossed it in. This was his second goal. It was so perfect because he literally he hit it. It went in. He stopped, faced me directly. Gave like a big giving homage to where he used to play at, and stuff like that. And I'm facing him directly, like as I'm staring the barrel of the lens, I'm facing him directly. Like even Taylor, the team photographer, doesn't have this photo.
Wow.
And stuff like that. So it's one that I can definitely.
You would say it's one of your biggest accomplishments of the season.
And even then, like later on, I was able to give it to him. I hit him up and gave it to him as a print with photo, as a gift and stuff like that.
Bro,
so
that's a great shot. That's a great shot, man. Yeah, you have to send that to me and I'll throw it on the screen.
Yeah.
For the podcast.
So it was one that I'm definitely proud of. Like I have it framed up into my apartment now and stuff like that. So once those are moments I'm proud of. I think one other one is, a big wedding that I had like 2 or 3 hours away from here. It was my first one. Like even I screwed up. I'll be honest with you. I had a big screw up. Like it was one that was a big 10-hour day. Yeah. I used external audio. It worked out. It clipped.
Photo or video?
It was video.
It was video. No.
And all that. So my big photo wedding was, I think 2-3 years ago, and I was originally hired for video, but then my friend I think called me the night before, and the photographer she hired caught COVID, and she couldn't make it anymore. So then she asked me to be for a photo, which coincidentally I wanted to be her photographer.
Awesome.
And then in the moment I was able to give her like my photo of the year, and it was perfect. I'll show it to you here after also.
Yeah.
And so those moments, I think it's not just a thing, it's just moments that like I'm proud of now. I think the thing I'm proud of now is because I've connected myself so much here, I'm now able to share that with other people.
No, that's dope, bro. That's dope. That's really dope. I think giving back after, starting from small beginnings and being put in a position where you can give back to others and help others that are trying to get to where they want to be it's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing.
And it's especially even when you're not at that point yet.
Yeah, of course. I think as a creator, you're always going to feel that way, though. Like, I feel like there's always another mountain to climb. Like, you get to a certain point, and then it's like, man, but I feel like there's so much farther to go. And I don't think we'll ever be at that place where we're like, yeah, we made
But
it.
it's because it's so funny because, like, I'll say this now, like, everything, like, what you've done and like your setup here and stuff like that, it's like it's definitely a goal of mine.
Yeah.
But even then, like you have it and like you're still looking for your next thing.
There's always something, bro. You know what I
So
mean?
it's kind of like my next thing would be this.
Yeah.
And like I won't say check it off the list because it sounds so like non-meaningful, but it's kind of like, bam, like I want to say like you kind of made it.
Yeah.
But then it's kind of like you got it, or else no, what now?
Yeah,
the big what now?
And that's we were talking a little bit before we started this show about why I started the podcast, but I am naturally a curious person. And I think sometimes in our industry there is competition. And I think what happens is sometimes people don't really share what they have going on because they feel like it's competition. But I really think that giving people insight to what only you can shoot the way that you shoot. You have your own style. I have my own style. Everybody has their own style. And people typically choose a videographer or photographer based on the style or based on what they shoot, And my circle is my circle. Your circle is your circle. And there's 8 billion people in the world. Like, there's enough to go around. There really is. And I think if we were...
There's enough seats at the table.
Yeah. If we were to connect more and collaborate more and showcase the skill sets of each other, you would be so surprised on the opportunities that both sides of the table gain. You know what I mean?
Like there's no reason. I always say like there's no reason to gatekeep around here.
No, not at all.
Like I said, there is no seats at the table and stuff like that. There. I mean, I'll be honest. There is a sense of, I wouldn't call it rivalry, but it's kind of like I want to be number one. I'm not, you.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. But it's kind of like, you're allowed to eat too.
For instance, you had that wedding, somebody caught COVID, boom, you're able to fill that slot.
I was already hired either way.
Either way, but still, yeah, you know what I mean? It's like when something like that happens and you have a relationship with people within the community, it's like, hey, I can tell my client I can't make it, but I know Jorge, he does a great job, he's great with photos, he can fill in my spot. You know what I mean? It's being able to...
It was like that. It was like that this 2 years ago. It was funny because like my second favorite MLS team came into town.
Okay.
And I really wanted to be at that game and shoot that game. But I had already been hired for another wedding video for that exact same name. So I was pretty bummed out. But then I was able to, recommend somebody to take my place for that day and give them their first ever game experience.
Yeah, and then that's a relationship that, like, I'm sure that person was grateful. Like, yo, thank you so much. You know what I mean? And it really connecting, man. One is too small of a number to achieve greatness.
For sure.
And I think the more that you collaborate, the greater you're going to become, and the greater you're going to help someone else become. So this podcast is about faith, family, film, and finances. Those are,
I like that,
like the 4 F's of the Good Look podcast. So I want to connect with people that have camera background, right? It's film, but that's photo and video that have that background, as well as people that are within faith. These are all just aspects of my life that are important to me, and I want to bring people on the show that can highlight some of those aspects, or whatever they specialize in those aspects, and to share their insight, and also give them a platform to tell people who they are and what they want to do. I've always enjoyed being interviewed, right? Or want to be interviewed. And I have a feeling that people want to tell their story. Everybody has a story to tell, you know what I mean? And it's important to tell other people's story. And I feel like it's important to give people a platform where they can tell their story.
For sure.
So your future client can learn about you, who you are, and hey, yeah, Jorge, I want to work with him. I like what he said about himself, about his business, how he came up into the game, how he got into sports videography. Or there could be a young photographer that wants to be a sports photographer like you, and like you just inspired them today with the words that you said.
Yeah, it was the most humbling experience after not this past season, but year 2, where the season was over and stuff like that, and I kept getting Instagram DMs.
Yeah.
Hey, how did you do this? How did you get on? Can you help me get on the sidelines like you did and stuff like that? How did you and stuff like that? And I'm like, I kind of give them the exact same answer, but it's kind of like it was just humbling. Like, yo, people actually look up to you.
Yeah.
And you kind of have that moment where you're like, bro, I didn't even do anything.
No, but you did.
Yeah. I eventually realized, like, I did do a lot, and it was something that, not a privilege, is a privilege that not many people have, and I'm glad I still have it to this day.
Yeah.
But it's like, but you still have the moment where you doubt yourself, and you're just like, am I worthy for this and stuff like that? I don't have all the bells and whistles, and eventually, I'm gonna speak that into faith for sure. But I had that moment where you're like, dang, all right, I actually did do something here.
Yeah, I have a moment like that, and that's how we met. When we met at that class at the Daylight Room.
Yeah.
So Carrie, she owns the Daylight Room, and we were having a conversation, and she was like, hey, you should just do a workshop on video.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, why not? It was something I never did before.
You did pretty good, by the way.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate that, man. And
you look nervous.
I was, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was nervous. You know what I mean? Because it was the first. But when
would you do it again?
I am going to be doing it again,
okay.
But in person, but as well as like online, like as like a web class or a master class. Yeah. And I think being creatives and having the experience that you have doing what you've done is something that you should look into as well, because there are people that would want to do what you're doing, and you could provide them with insight on how to get there, what you did to get there, and you could also provide them with like a almost like a fly's eye view. You know what I mean? You can invite them to a game and to have them look over your shoulder to learn what you're doing. That's an experience that you could create for them potentially. I don't know what it's like with your company, but imposter syndrome is a real thing, and I felt it. But when you have put in the work and you have the experience, and that just gives you something to speak to, you know what I mean? Even if you're not where you want to be, you are ahead of someone else, and you can shed light and help someone else. So.
Yeah, like I didn't think like that very first game where I finally did it.
Yeah.
it was scary because I was like, am I even good at this?
Yeah.
But I think midway through the seasons when I finally felt comfortable enough to be like, I know my thing now. I know my way around here now. So when you say like, yeah, I put in the work now,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So yeah, so I mean, you make a really good point there for sure.
What would you say to the upcoming photographer that is trying to get into sports photography but doesn't know where to start? What advice would you give them?
I think I'll give them the exact same advice anybody else does. I was like, first of all, don't go the way I did because it usually doesn't really work out unless you are actually good and you can prove yourself. But start small.
Yeah.
Shoot anything you can, but that doesn't go for just the sports person. Shoot this anybody with a camera.
Yeah.
Shoot anything. Learn as much as you possibly can. Like there was moments where I didn't really do, like even to this day I barely ever shoot.
Yeah.
But I'm still soaking as much information as I possibly can. Even though I wanna bring back that itch again.
Yeah.
Shoot as much as you can. Learn. Don't rely on just the camera doing it all for you. Learn the ins and outs. Learn the technical side first, and then you learn and then you can create after that. But network the crap out of whatever you want. You're not just gonna be handed a credential and then you're just gonna figure it out after that. Nobody's gonna do that for you, especially at a college or pro level. Maybe you can do it at a high school level. Which is cool. It's just how you start. This is the steps you take.
Yeah.
But you gotta put in that work after that for sure.
Definitely. There's always work to be done. And I think that's the piece that really sets you apart too. The amount of work that you put in, it showcases in the quality of the work that you put out as well. You know what I mean? Like you know your business, you know how to use a camera. And like the more you put into learning, it shows in your work.
For sure.
Yeah.
It was because there was a guy who shot with us this year, and I constantly threw him tips. It was like, hey, you could do this better and stuff like that. You could do this better. I wasn't doing it because my full-time obligations asked for me something else. You gotta do what you gotta do to pay the bills. But I was always throwing him darts, be like, hey, you could do this to improve it. Add sound effects to this. Work on your color grading. Do this, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And it was my way of just paying it back, but helping me out as well. Like I will look back and like, next time I have that, I will take that in consideration as well.
Yeah.
When I have that opportunity for myself.
No, that's cool, bro. That's really cool. So looking ahead into the future, what are the goals that you have, and what's next for Jorge Torres for video?
It's so funny because I literally wrote down my goals, I think last night, and I don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
You can tell me how you do it.
I will, yeah.
But I think for myself to make this something more realistic, I did it like Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4.
Yeah.
Instead of having your 2025 goals and listing them all out, and if you don't mess up, do one, you're feel like crap afterwards and stuff like that. So I'll kind of, make it how realistic I can make it. But like, I would for sure love to be the gym, fitness, sports guy for here in Charlotte. I think that's my goal. I want to. I looked up to my past employer, who had one of his businesses was content for a CrossFit gym, and how he went about it and stuff like that, and that really inspired me. Yeah. Because that's why I enjoy doing, and the times we went out to shoot at that gym was I loved it. It was one of my favorite days when we went to go to shoot there. Shout out Ryan, but it was, I saw that and I was like, this is what I want to do. Yeah. And I don't know how I'm gonna get there. I've already reached out to a couple gyms here. Yeah. I'm in the process of shooting like a portfolio. I mean, like for free, but I'm gonna shoot like a portfolio piece with the trainer and and stuff like that, and maybe work with like even some energy drink brands and stuff like that. Yeah. And if I can lock down my consistent people, and then I can grow myself, grow your empire, upgrade and do all that kind of things you want, to where you feel like I'm good, I made it. Yeah. Which even then, like, you never really say I made it.
Yeah. What just to touch base on what you were saying, when it comes to goal setting, I found that the way that I do it is I will write down like the big goal and then reverse engineer it.
Like, do you write down the dream and then just like, okay, let's back it up?
Yeah. So it depends on what the goal is, right? If it's a financial goal, I'll write down the number, right? And then and then I'll break down that number
on how am I gonna go about this?
Exactly, right? So I'll break down the number. Let's say the number is $1 million, right? I'll break down the number. Okay, how many clients? What am I offering? Number one, what am I offering? What is my offer to get to this $1 million, right? Am I offering $100 promo videos? Well, then that means I'm gonna have to shoot
a whole
gang of promo videos to get to that $1 million, right? So then I set my goal, then I create my offer based around that goal, and then how many people do I need at this price point to reach that goal? Okay, once I got that figured out, all right, what are they getting within this offer? And what is the plan to execute everything that I'm putting in the offer? Say however many videos it is, photos it is, whatever. What is the plan? What does the schedule look like, right? That way I have everything set in place so that when I do have the opportunity, I'm ready. It's not like, oh, well, I do this and it's clear. This is what I offer. This is the price point. And this is how the plan and the schedule would look.
Take
like.
it or leave it. Just kidding.
Yeah, really. Yeah. And based on the quality of your work and also the relationship that you have with that person, really, I think relationships really depend on you being hired a lot too, man. You know what I mean? Being transparent and clear about what you want, clear about who you want to work with, clear about what your goals are.
It's so crazy that
with your
I didn't mean to
clients.
cut you off.
No, go ahead.
But like, it's kind of like I've seen people, I've reached, seeing the landscape and stuff like that, and it's kind of like, oh, they already have their person, so these are things you don't want to intrude on, because like, last thing you want is overstepping toes and stuff like that. But reverse engineering is a good idea for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Start at your goal, and then, okay, how do we get there, and just work yourself to the front. But yeah, man, when it comes to,
but like, what was that? What's like that one big, like, if like what was like the one dream?
The one dream.
Because I could tell you mine. Because something I tell you.
I would say my one dream, or an idea that I had recently, I was talking to my wife about, was eventually getting my business to a space to where it can run without me.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And then focusing all of my efforts in creating a nonprofit organization that shoots promotional videos and awareness videos for people in need of something.
I like that.
You know what I mean? That way I would like travel the country or travel the world to shoot videos to help other people, to help them raise money for whatever the cause is. So that's my end game goal. Like if I was gonna retire, I don't see myself ever like retiring and not filming or not shooting. But if I was going to retire, I'd have Good Look Productions on autopilot, have a team of videographers, photographers that are executing everything. And I would be traveling, capturing stories of people that are in need to raise money for them so they can get what it is they need.
I like that.
Yeah, bro. That's the goal.
Cool.
And and man, I feel like it's far away. I do. But I'm taking the steps to get Good Look Productions to where it needs to be. And then once that's solidified, then we can go after the next piece.
No, that's dope.
Yeah, bro.
So like, I think for me, mine would be like, obviously I would love a team. I would love to grow my own thing, I would love my own studio and stuff like that. My own whatever. Whatever that God's plan for me is.
Yeah.
I think my own selfish one.
Yeah.
Is I would love to be like the first creative that gets sponsored by like an athletic brand.
That's dope.
That's right.
Yeah. No, I feel
like
if it was, what athletic brand would you like to be?
Like I wear Under Armour most of the time,
Gotcha.
So like that would be my one. Like I would shooting big, the big ones, Nike, Adidas, Under Armour. But I think if I could go for UA, that'd be like my go thing.
Why don't you shoot something for him?
I mean, like I would, I for sure.
Like
Not, I want to think of something for sure.
Yeah, like you were talking about a little earlier.
So I want to connect with. So I connected with a guy who works for Celsius.
Okay.
With your drink, and
Yeah.
I've had a video in mind for forever, and I want to find a way to finally put that executed. And I'll tell you my idea here in a little bit.
That's cool.
So like I would love to for Celsius, which is like the energy. So I want to do things want to grow of things that I'm already using for myself.
Yeah.
Like big, athlete stuff, all these drinks that I drink, nutrition, and big and stuff like that. But I will also, I think, traveling is also big for me.
Yeah.
And I would also find a way to like give back.
Yeah.
Eventually, somehow.
Yeah.
I think one. I don't know if you. I'll send you the link. So there's this guy online, I forgot his name, who did a video of a photographer videographer from Uganda,
Okay.
and he made a video about his story and what he wants to do. But obviously, funds aren't that great over there.
Yeah.
He raised like a GoFundMe. I literally cried watching this video.
Wow.
He made a GoFundMe, raised like $20,000+ for him, bought all this stuff for him, then traveled all the way to Uganda and surprised him. His mom was he cried. His mom was praying over him and stuff like that. And then I saw that and I was like, man, I want to do that too. Like it was special, and I
Change
was like,
somebody's life.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
like that's really cool.
Yeah. The thing about what we do, Jorge, is that there is it's a lot of power in it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Our leader of my supporter group calls me the eyes of our group, and I was like, damn, that's cool.
yeah, no, that is cool. That is cool. That's really cool. There's power in what we do because we have the ability to move people to take action.
For sure.
And if you move the right people the right way, you would be surprised what you can accomplish, man. Even when it comes to a money standpoint. Like I've one of my biggest accomplishments, I shot a video for a nonprofit company in Fort Myers, Florida. They help women that are caught in sex trafficking. And I shot a video for them. It was a paid gig, but I shot a video for them because they were having a gala to raise money. And that video that we shot raised them $60,000 in one day. You know what I mean? And that shows you like the power of our work and even what we're worth. And once you start accomplishing things like that, you really start to realize your worth. And I think that's when you really start to tap into those budgets and those clients that you want to work with. You know what I mean? I think if you have that passion for sports, you should probably find somebody that works out in a gym that looks like has the right physique. Find out what size Under Armour gear they wear, put it on them. Find that sports drink that you like, and just have them work out in the Under Armour, drink the sports drink, put together a montage that maybe you could shoot out to several different brands, right? You know what I mean? Now you can show that to a fitness trainer and get hired by them. You could.
I'm already ahead of
yeah,
step.
I already know, bro. But yeah, that's just an idea that came to mind,
I got you.
But yeah, man. Man, Jorge, do you have anything for me that you want to ask or anything?
Nah, I'm good.
Nah, that's cool, bro. I really appreciate.
Let me help you out with the next workshop.
Yeah, no, that would be dope, bro. That would definitely be dope, man. The next workshop that I have, I'm in the process of building that community. You know what I'm saying? And then once the opportunity is there, and I need a dope photographer, because it'd be great to have some photos.
For sure.
If you have any photos. Yeah, I'd love to have you be a part of it, bro. I love to have, people that have collaborated with me in the past and just build on this relationship, because that's important, man. But that's your camera right there, bro. If you just want to let the people know where they can find you, how they can get in contact with you, and then we'll wrap it up.
My name is Jorge. You can follow me on Instagram at Jorge T Photo Vid, or my website. You can probably link it somewhere.
I'll link it for you.
I do a little of everything. Obviously, I'm trying to niche down and do my own thing as well. if you need, any business for, your gym or just whatever event you have going on, please feel free to hit me up. And yeah, God bless, and let's make it happen.
Dope. So guys, that wraps it up for this episode on the Good Look Podcast. It was a pleasure having you here in the
appreciate
studio, Jorge. For real, bro. Appreciate your time, man, and your flexibility to come through.